The Brooklyn Nets
Yeah, man.
are now here. They are sparking a buzz right now with their moves and everything. Talk about how successful can the Nets be, and how much I would say visibility can they be able to generate from the New York market, or will they be second fiddle once again?
Well, there's always that honeymoon period that we use in sports business that fans will come right away in that first 2 months just to see like the new stadium, the new arena, the new amenities, the new team. I mean, there's going to be definitely that buzz factor. If they keep winning, the fans will definitely stick. I mean, this is a New York Knick town. We all know that for the last how many years, 50 years or so, 60 years. So it'll be tough to get all the fans throughout the whole season unless they keep winning. And I think that they have the talent. Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, one of the best backcourts in the league, maybe the best. And they upgraded well. They got Chris Humphries back. They still have Marshawn Brooks. They didn't really disrupt the roster too much. Brooke Lopez is back and feeling healthy. I know they didn't get Dwight Howard, but I think there's definitely some. Reggie Evans off the. I mean, they have a lot of rebounding presence because Brooke Lopez is still not the best rebounder. So you have Humphries and Reggie Evans around Brooke Lopez that gives them more rebounding support. So they definitely have the talent. The biggest thing, and we've seen this throughout the years, I think that if you put a lot of talent on paper or on the court together, you just can't say they're going to win a lot of games. You have to see how they kind of gel and develop chemistry. Miami Heat got to the finals in 2011, but they lost the finals. They needed that one more year of maturation to really win the finals. So,
Avery Johnson, he
does, and he's a point guards coach. But it can happen. You look at the Celtics when they got the big three. That next year, or that season, they won the championship. So we've seen it in different ways. So the Nets have a lot of potential. I just think that the Knicks and the Nets are in the same situation. They have the Heat, who have LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, and they upgraded getting Ray Allen and Rashard Lewis. And I'll be totally surprised if Ray Allen doesn't lead the league next season in three-pointers made or attempted. I mean, he's going to have so many open looks. So that to me is the biggest challenge. The Heat, the only way the Heat are going to lose is if they beat themselves. So the Nets and Knicks have to play like perfect basketball all season, and then when the playoffs start, they got to be just clicking because the Heat are going to be right there.
Of course, for the next 3 to 5 years. Definitely,
absolutely.
With those three guys together. And I want to ask you about the free agent period in the NBA, which is still heating up a little bit. Not as hot as it was last week, but its temperature's still up there. Wanted to see your take on the team that really progressed the most and the team that regressed the most with lack of activity or lack of being able to convince players to stay.
Well, I would definitely say the Mavericks up there. They for a second I was like, what are they going to do? They lost Jason Kidd. They lost the Darren Williams sweepstakes. Jason Terry too. They lost him obviously to the Celtics. So a lot of questions, but they rebounded well. They got Elton Brand, O.J. Mayo. They got some other guys as well.
Caveman.
Chris Caveman. Exactly. Chris Caveman. So they upgraded their front court really well to balance out Dirk. I mean, Dirk was looking at himself like, where am I going with this team? I'm the guy. I'm staying here. What are they going to do around me? And they got some rebounding support. They got some scoring support. O.J. Mayo could hit the three like Jason Terry could. So
play both 1 and 2.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. He's very versatile.
I wanted the Knicks to get him. That was the
Well, it was going to be tough because financially, I think that O.J. was always going to be like a mid-level and higher guy. I always thought that. I mean, he made a lot of money last year. He helped lead the Grizzlies deep into the playoffs. So I think it was going to be definitely a challenge for the Knicks to get him at that level. Also, they got Darren Collison, obviously a great point guard. With the Pacers in the last few years. So I think that they definitely upgraded well. I think the Suns getting Luis Scola and obviously re-signing Goran Dragic, who's going to be, I think, a stud in this league. I think that was also a very bright, I think, moves that they made. Beyond that, I think the Nets and the Knicks are right up there. They obviously retained some of their guys. The Nets I'm talking about. The Knicks got some great defensive support, just to back up with Mon Shumpert out and just getting some interior support. I think the Lakers getting Steve Nash. I mean, no one's talking about Nash at the highest pinnacle of the free agent signings, but I like this move so much because, Nash will alleviate pressure off Kobe Bryant, who's getting up there in age, 34, 35, or, he'll be next season. They're sort of an older team, and they were missing a three-point shooter from the point guard position. Steve Blake was inconsistent. Ramon Sessions was so-so. He wasn't.
Don't trust him with it.
Yeah, exactly. So now you have Kobe attacking, and you have Nash really could hit the three, and I think it will just space the court so much better. Nash is probably in some of his best shape that he's been all his career, and I talked to him a few weeks ago. He's feeling great. So, I mean, I think that's just going to give the Lakers so many different options, and also he just knows how to run a team. And if there's any locker room inconsistencies or any spurts during a game that they're kind of lacking, I think Nash is the guy to really get the team's respect. And I mean, obviously Kobe is there too, but now you have another guy who really, really will demand respect from the team. So they're going to be, I think, to me, just consistent throughout the year. I don't see any like ups and downs with the Lakers. They're going to be pretty solid, I think, if they stay healthy.
Right.
I think the teams that maybe didn't upgrade, there are a lot of teams that just didn't really do a lot. I mean, I think that actually one team that I still liked also is the Hornets. The Hornets, they drafted well. Yeah. They re-signed Eric Gordon. I think they did a great job.
But Atlanta, they've regressed big time.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing Joe Johnson. I mean, they did get Lou Williams off the bench. They had some scoring, but you're right. I mean, Al Horford's still there. I mean, I think he was injured a little bit last year. He had that pectoral muscle issue. That he had surgery, so he's going to come back, I think, healthy and looking good. But you're right. I think the Hawks, the Hawks are in a weird situation because, it's like a team that can play well, but they may not play well. They're sort of like right in the middle now, and I feel like with the East, if you're not in that top 3 or 4,
right.
You really don't have any business playing in the Eastern Conference right now. It's so challenging with the Heat and the Knicks and the Nets and the Celtics up there that even teams like the Raptors right on the border there and with Andre Bargnani and Landry Fields, even teams like right in the middle are just going to have a difficult time.
Right.
Right.
And don't forget Indiana though.
Indiana,
they
right.
were able to
Indiana. You're right. Indiana.
Good,
Indiana. You're right. They're still there too.
They were not matching that offer sheet. That
expensive, but they kept them.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I mean, maybe the Clippers. Maybe the Clippers losing some guys. I think that they and Blake Griffin. You have to kind of question where his health is going to be. I think he should be back. I think this season healthy. But Chris Paul. I mean, he's really kind of all by himself out there right now. I feel like they lost some. They lost Nick Young. They lost some offensive firepower.
Jamal Crawford though.
Jamal Crawford, true. But defensively, he's sort of suspect. The Clippers, I think, really tried to establish themselves last year. I think they did a good job with their veteran leadership and having a good roster. But I think injuries depleted them. I think losing some guys. So I mean, the Clippers could be, maybe like a 6 or 7 seed. They can drop a little bit, I think.
And it's funny you talk about the Clippers. 2 things. One statement I want to make: Lamar Odom, everyone was talking about that he was psychologically he was going through a lot in being moved to Dallas. But at the same time, though, I really think that he's regressing physically anyway. I think we're not going to see the Lamar Odom of past with the Los Angeles Lakers. We're not going to see that.
Yeah.
I think we'll see, we're going to see this year that he's not going to be at that level.
Well, he played in LA before with the Clippers and the Lakers, and I think that last year really kind of messed him up mentally. Obviously, he witnessed a death in a car accident in New York. I know he had a family death. I know that he was also shocked to go to the Mavericks. That really kind of took him aback. So, I mean, maybe coming back to the LA will kind of refocus him. We haven't really seen what he's doing this offseason. Maybe he's working really hard. Maybe he's getting in some of the best shape that he's been in. It's an offseason that players know is very determined. Last season there was the lockout. Players didn't really know when the season was going to start. I even talked to some players, and some agents told their players that we may not have a season. So players came into the start of the season really out of shape. So maybe Lamar, maybe he's one of those guys that maybe just didn't really physically or mentally be there last year. Maybe he takes the offseason, really refocuses, and maybe he comes back to where he was a few years ago with the Lakers. So we'll see.